Welcome to the Divorce Devil Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Rachel. Follow us as we dive into all the positive and negatives of post-divorce recovery. Stay tuned for some real and sometimes raw end-of-the-road divorce topics. Please put on your big pants because we're full of honesty, authenticity, and irrefutable truths.
This progressive podcast for the free-hearted. Enjoy.
3, 2, 1. You like getting counting?
Welcome, everybody out there to Divorce Devil episode 82, almost to 100. Today we're talking about top 5 roller coaster events during divorce recovery. And Rachel says she's been studying, so she's got some good ones. I'm going to come up with 4.
Dude, you input unavailable.
So
restart studio.
What?
That's what it says on my computer. Damn it. Technology.
No, but I can see you.
I can see clearly. Well, that's what it says on mine. I'm just letting you know. Input unavailable. Unable to get audio input.
No,
Restart.
audio's fine.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, that's going to distract me, but it's okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Divorce Devil Podcast.
You're off the screen a little bit too. Yes. Yeah. I'm just going to be happy with you being even an eye on the screen. Like, hey,
be like,
hey, hi.
I see you.
Hi.
Hi.
There
Hi.
we go.
One eye.
So once again, we're talking about the top 5 roller coaster. Well, actually 9, because you have 5, I have 4.
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to have that many. I got like 3 or 4.
If you have 3 or 4, then I have 4, so that's 8. So we're more than
3
top.
and 4. Okay,
Hey,
yeah.
the base is top 5. If we come up with more than 5, then we've done a good job.
I don't think we've ever stuck to the number.
Never.
That we
Never.
We've either gone way over or way under.
No, we never go under. It's
Never?
always over.
Oh, well, look at us being cool.
Yeah. So top 5 roller coaster events during divorce recovery. So Rachel, start with number 1.
My number 1 was financial. You know, I talk about being blindsided, but what my finances were. And it wasn't the main reason I got out of my divorce, but once I did, Jesus fuck, finding out you went from like
Jesus fuck. There we go.
I mean,
again,
I'm going to hell. It's okay.
Little drummer boy
this is divorce
gave
devil.
Jesus COVID.
If the lightning from outside strikes, this is my fault. I will take blame for this one. Last week was yours.
Jesus FUCK. All right.
I mean, okay, we know where I stand with the Jesus guy.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think the biggest part was not knowing. My God.
We got to start early, man. We got to start early.
If you've never been to the studio here or been on or been a guest or watched YouTube, I highly suggest you watch it because y'all think I'm crazy. You should see this boy. Okay. See, now I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were talking about finances.
Money.
Let me help you. Finances. Yeah. Finding out crazy stuff.
Yeah. Like I moved to, I'm echoing in my ear. That's going to annoy the fuck out of me.
Once again, there's the FUCK word.
This is not for the faint of heart. Having you listen to our tagline. I moved into a pretty, high society, I would say, like a, good socioeconomic area, and lived in a really nice house, and we had the cars and the vacations and all this other stuff. And my ex is in construction, so he made good money. I'm a nurse. I made good money. We did stuff. I mean, we moved from New Jersey, which is a very expensive place, and we got here, and we were here about 2 years, and then living like the Joneses, apparently, we weren't even close. And just getting bills, and like still now I'm getting medical bills that I thought were paid because I'm like, okay, here's the money for this, or here's, like doing the financial stuff. And I just keep getting this, smacked in the face. So there is definitely a roller coaster of emotions. The amount I want to kill someone, that's a great one. And then it's like, when I feel like things are starting to get better, it gets, it goes right back to the toilet again. So it's like, I am able to take care of myself. I, can have food on the table. I still am able to do some things, but I'm like, Jesus, when am I going to come out? When's the ride over?
So what
for
I'm
my
hearing you
finances.
say is to pay attention to the finances
Yeah, and I think that's
before,
something we
during,
need
and
to
after
teach.
divorce. Yep.
I think we need to teach our youngsters, because like when I was in school, we learned like budgeting and accounting and all this stuff that went into being an adult. And I know my kids didn't get any of that. They didn't get like a life class, or what does a budget mean, and if you're going to have kids, what does that mean, and what is how do you do your taxes. And that's one of our big thing. Like when we moved here, we were in a higher tax bracket, and my ex, being in, he was a chief estimator. Like he does numbers. That's his thing. It was his job.
Which is
He's
kind
like,
of ironic.
yeah. So it was like, you can do $1 million, bids and all this, but you couldn't figure out how to do our taxes or have someone else do it. I mean, we used to have an accountant in New Jersey, because I had a daycare, and there was a nurse, and, going to school, and we had things that, we didn't know how to do. So I don't understand why we couldn't do that here. But, to come to find out, when I thought I never worried about money. Also was able to help family members of stuff like that. And then it was, oh shit, I have 27, David.
Yep.
$7
in the bank. Pete, $27. Go ahead.
27. And so it really is like, I always have that, top of the roller coaster, you drop down, stomach. I always have that. And I never feel like there's not going to be a loop, or there's not going to be something that's going to, come up again. I have had forensic stuff done and still don't know all the stuff. I'm like, wait, what? Like,
Damn.
I don't know. So it's, finances was it's still a big roller coaster thing for me. I feel like I'm getting there. I feel like I'm saving some money. I now have another retirement thing. Like all my money was gone. Like all my money was gone. And so I'm having to start over at 48 with a retirement. Like I've been working since I was like 10, 11, like legitly. And so it really is a big, I still like daily. I'm like, what the fuck?
All right. My number 2, we'll just go sequentially.
Okay.
Number 2 would be missing your ex and not missing your ex. There's that push me, pull me. Ooh, I like that. Push me, pull me. Dr. Doolittle. Push me, pull me thing.
Some more of
yes,
that?
yes. Push me, pull me episode.
Wait,
of
push me, pull my hair?
No. Push me, pull me. Never mind. For you old people out there, nothing to do with hair. Oh my God.
Sorry.
It's that, you want them gone.
Yeah.
But then you miss them because you want somebody in the house.
You miss the idea of it.
It's almost the house is too quiet, especially if you're having kids go back and forth. Because the week my kids were gone was just horrible.
Yeah.
There was nothing there except me.
Well, Lance had said that too. He's like, I didn't want to come home because I didn't want to realize how alone I was.
Yep. Back to life. Back
to
I'm not singing
reality, back to life. Okay. I'm good.
However do you want me?
However do you need me?
Please.
Sorry, I just broke the glass.
So you missed that person.
Yeah. You know what I was going to say? The worst thing is, like Facebook or those 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, those keep coming up.
Fuck. Sometimes they hit you in the gut. You're like, oh my God, remember we were on that amazing vacation and we actually got along and the kids were great, and or we had gone for our 20-year wedding anniversary. And it was just like, what? Like, oh, okay, I was married to that person for a long time, and there were good times until there wasn't. And so I think 24 years of marriage opposed to 2 years of divorce, there's a lot more marriage than there was divorce, and there was a lot more happy than there was sad. And we say too, you don't get married to get divorced. You don't say, hey, you got a time limit on here. And when you do end it and there is that time limit, now you're like, shit, like now what? And yes, you have new memories and all that sort of stuff, but that family unit is dissolved.
Yep.
And usually if the kids are with him, they're now all having the same thing, and then you're left out, or vice versa, he's left out. So both sides of it, it And depending on what you're feeling, I say this all the time, depending on the mood, like if my kids are all doing something fun with him or doing something that we had all talked about doing together, I'm like, it's a punch in the gut.
Oh, definitely.
Or it's like, okay, so now what do I got to do? Well, I don't want to one up them. I'm not trying to do that, but that's a memory that I wanted to be a part of, and now I'm not.
Yep.
So
what's number 3 what's number 2 for you, which is our number 3?
My roller coaster was Friends. So
Ooh, Friends.
Knowing who was, and it really is teams. Whose team is he on? Whose side are you on? Whose story are you going to believe? A lot of the people that stuck around saw the daily, chaos.
It's almost like there were 2 narratives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when, like I've said 1,000 times, I lost the person who I thought was my best friend here. But my best friends that I still have been the ones that have always been there. So it wasn't like I have new friends and I have new best friends. What do you want to call it? But you really learn that you don't always matter in everybody else's life the way they matter
Correct.
to you.
Yep. And you figure out who's on your team and who's not on your team.
Yeah.
And you get quicker at tossing the ones not on your team.
Well, and
because at first you suck at it.
Oh, gosh,
you suck at it, Rachel.
No, you do, because I remember I said, like, I told my story, like I would just need to get my side out. Yep. And then I was like, oh shit, like I don't want people to be mad at him because of our stuff, because he's still friends with my friend. Like most of the times when you're married, you're friends with the couple. And so like, it's almost a couple divorce. Like you can't just be friends with the wife and the husband's friends with your husband.
Wow, that's confusing.
Like if you're couple friends, usually the husband's friends with the husband and you're friends with the wife, and then you're all friendly or whatever. But it's more than just a divorce of you and your ex. It's a divorce of friends. It's a divorce.
But in a perfect world, everybody should be friends regardless. But that never happens.
And I think there's well wishes, but I don't think that you're still friends in the same dynamic. You're not still friends in the same like circle even. Like my ex will see one of my best friends and her husband because they live closer, and they'll borrow the lawnmower or whatever. But when they're with me, it's about me, and it's not about saying, hey, we saw Jerry or blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's about, we're there together enjoying each other's company kind of thing. But there's that sadness of, we used to do this together. We used to do events together. We used to vacation together. We used to, the kids used to play together. Like, so there's a lot of almost walking on eggshells with friends. And the ones who reached out, but were like, I don't know what to say. I've never been through a divorce, or I've been through a divorce. This is what you're feeling. I'm not sure exactly how you're going to feel the way I did or whatever, or what your situation is, but whatever you need, I'm here. It was the ones who were trying to fix me when they had their own issues was like. Because
women don't want to get fixed anyway. Men out there don't fix women.
We just want to, I think with
listen or pretend to listen. But don't fix it.
Actively listen, fuckers.
Well, actively. And
here's actively for me. Like, this is how easy going I am. Actively listening. Yeah. Okay.
Looking at you, all like blinking at you. Yes.
I don't know what to say. Just every once in a while, checking in, even if you've zoned out.
And then at the end, you say, pass the remote, please.
Oh, I don't get the remote. I'm always accused of stealing a remote, but the remote is never.
No. If the remote's over there on your side of the couch, please pass remote because I listen to you. And that's all I'm doing.
Oh, look at you. Yes. I didn't get that. Like, no, I don't get the remote in our house. And if I have something on, So what's your next
number
one?
4?
Yeah.
4 is glad I got divorced. Not so glad I got divorced.
Yeah.
I'm happy I'm divorced. Man, this is the best thing ever happened. Like, man, was that the right decision? You can almost it's almost like an armchair quarterback. You go back in time and you think about what you did and you think about, is it really worth it? But here to tell you folks, 9 times out of 10, it pretty much is.
Well, and the other thing too is owning your shit in that.
Yep.
My ex is the worst person ever. That's why we're divorced. Well, it's not 100% that way.
Yep.
Someone else also was in that marriage. And when one person wants out, you really can't fix it.
Nope.
But where did it break?
Correct.
Where was that line? So the communication, can't talk. where were the breaks in the relationship?
But it's usually the other person's fault, though.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
I mean,
duh.
We're going to say, no, but you do have to own up to, like, you know, do. Like I say all the time, at the end of ours, I was just like, I don't fucking care. Like, I literally could look him down the straight in the face and be like, there's no emotion, there's no connection, there's no love, there's no lust, there's no nothing.
I am done.
I'm just blank face. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And I don't care the response you get, but I'm going to get a response. And it was almost like, how mad can I make him today? So then maybe he leaves, because it really came to the point where, like, I had to go. There was no other option.
Poke the bear.
Yeah,
poke the
and
bear,
I was like, and in my brain, the girl's supposed to stay. Well, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
In the house. Like,
this isn't Kramer versus Kramer.
No,
bullshit.
No, and it's not. And I was like, oh, I can go. Why can't I go? I'm not going to force him out. I mean, the kids are going to be here either way. And there was a time where, like, if it was my weekend or whatever, I would go to the house and he would go out, like, so I could be in the house and cook dinner and all that stuff. So we got to the point where it was all about the kids, and, you know, there was, of course,
that's a good point to be. Good place to be.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that whole, and I think after you're divorced, I was married. I am no longer married. And, you know, that, you know, all the things that go into a marriage, they don't tell you. There's bullshit that you have to deal with. And if you haven't learned how to do that, and then you're learning together, there's going to be shit. And it's how much shit are you going to deal with, you know? So that was my other one.
And number 5, so take us home.
I'm going to say this one was brought to you by Lance, because when I asked him, I was like, I kind of understand the roller coasters in my head. And I'm like, you know me, I'm emotional, and I've cried less, you know, but let me cry it out, then figure it out, and then be either pissed off or whatever. But the only one being affected is me. One of our roller coasters, like he also has, is, combined parenting, co-parenting at events. We, you know, Lance's daughter's getting married in 2 years. My daughter's graduating college next year. You know, my son is moving. Like, there's a bunch of events that are happening that we should, if we were married, be doing together. Lance and his ex, if they were still married, would be, you know, planning a wedding, or they're now still planning a wedding, but separately.
But they're doing it separately.
So now you have to put your emotions aside, let it say, hey, this is about the kid. It's like, she's worried about the budget. She just graduated college early. She's looking for a job. Like, all this stuff that's happening that you should be doing with your ex. Is this a roller coaster of emotions? And now you're dealing with adult children that you had with someone else. And you're like, hey, how much of this are you going to ride the roller coaster with me? And he brought up sports, like going to baseball with my little guy. My ex is that parent. He knows all the fucking rules. He thinks doesn't help coach, but like gonna sideline, tell him everybody how to play and what the rules are, and make sure the umpire knows what the rules are, and blah blah blah.
Let me get the general umbrella of all that. We call that logistics.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
Okay, and so, and Lance's ex, her whole entire existence was on getting her girls to play college sports. Lance and his ex-wife both played college sports. And that was her goal. So she was the manager mom, like the momager, I guess that's what
momager.
And it was so stressful. And I wasn't even the kid. Like, I wasn't even the daughter. And I was like, oh my God, the amount of stress that she's putting on other people, because she didn't make it very far in her college sports stuff. Like she was definitely an agent for her children, and stressed them out beyond belief, and stressed Lance out. And Lance has been there. He's like, every time his daughters come, like, well, the one I've seen, she comes off the field, he's like, did you have fun? That's what it is. And I do the same with my son. Like, he's 11 playing like rec ball because his sport is hockey. And right now it's summer, and so you could do summer league and all other stuff. But his main sport is hockey, and baseball is something to keep him active. And I swear my ex thinks is like the recruiters are in the stands. I'm like, I have to shut the fuck up.
I have to sympathize with your ex.
You are that?
Slightly.
Oh, David.
But I'm that guy. You know, I didn't play college sports,
David.
but I'm that guy that wants free college. That's
God.
totally different. That's a totally different mindset, which is cool.
I mean,
and I got some free college.
His daughter literally got like a 5 on her AP. I don't even statistics.
Yep.
Like she's getting money. Like she's going to school for pretty cheap because of her grades, not just soccer. She's on the soccer team. She's going to play in college. She's like so excited, but the kid's smart. So she got into school on her wits, not on her soccer. Soccer is her love. She loves it, but
and that's a good place
goal.
To be.
You know, she has a goal. And like the amount of times like my ex has screamed during a hockey game or a soccer, and like what else my son plays? Football, flag
you just
football.
Want to put your head down.
I'm just like, I'm
oh my
so
God.
glad that I'm connected to Logs, but I'm not connected to the ex. I'm like, could you just stop? Like, could you stop? Like, just stop. I'm like, you're that parent. You are that parent. You're the reason they have the signs on the wall. Like, stop. Just stop. And so I think that big roller coaster is, oh shit, like please don't sit next to me because I don't want to be next to you.
Which kind of brings us to number 6. I'm gonna throw in number 6.
Okay.
A connection disconnect. So that involves almost everything that we were talking about. That you were connected, now there's a disconnect. So that logistics of sports, the logistics of school, the logistics, let's say you got little kids, the logistics of daycare.
Right.
I mean, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah. And, you know, like before and after school programs, like because we're in school districts and stuff like that, we do get a discount for Lance gets it pretty much free because they're in the same school district. And my ex isn't responsible for that. So that's one of the things I'm like, if it wasn't for him, like you'd have to pay half, but you can't pay me my regular and then complain that you don't have nothing. Like, you're the reason we don't. So there's a lot of ups and downs where like, I'm pretty sure by year 2, you have to become an expert of biting your tongue.
Oh yeah.
You just like, yeah. And it can be like, you know, that, you know, proverbial in your head, like, you're such a fucking asshole. I can't take it. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, okay, all right. I got you. So like school supplies are coming. I got a list and I was like, hey, here's the school supplies. We have half of them because we didn't need them for like a year and a half. So here's what we have. Last year I bought all of them and I bought all the clothes. Yep. And so what are you going to, what part do you play? What you going to do with all that junk?
You're going to get down. Okay. No, you know, you're saying that. I'm singing Cool in the Gang. So we're totally off right now.
I'm going to get all that junk. All that junk inside that trunk.
Gonna get those school supplies in that trunk.
In that trunk.
My lady lumps.
What you gonna do with all that lump? I'm sure
school supplies and lady lumps. Yeah. Wow. What
then,
the hell?
You know, and then you have sports. Back to sports is because equipment, fees, travel, all that stuff that goes on. Like, okay, whose turn? Like, you know, and that's something you're gonna have to work with. And if you can't speak to each other on civil terms, it's always a fight. So you're always on that, you know, that roller coaster drop, you know, in your stomach. So
I've got a different closure. Okay. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
So our closing statement today is going to be, what's happening in your Facebook women's group?
Oh. Let's just say I've exited one and then a new one.
Let's not. Whoa. Yes. Let's not be specific, of course. Generally, what's going on in the women's divorce Facebook
Okay, so
group?
the one that I've talked about in the past, I had to leave.
Because they were celebrating women cheating?
No, they were so, I don't even know, petty. I'm gonna use the word, the Karens.
Like for example.
Okay, so
I love Karens.
I mean, you go for it.
Oh, I mean, love them.
The Karens that I'm talking about were like, literally one day they'd have this opinion and then next day the opposite opinion. And then someone would call them out and be like, well, this is a group. We're supposed to support each other. Like, but you don't even fucking know what you're talking about. Like, you're not being consistent. In the same thread. In the same, like, I was like, okay, so how bipolar are you? Like, so, someone had asked a question about this guy that they are talking to on a dating app. And so, and it's like dating over 40 and like
And
divorced and all this
that's
other
not a
stuff.
good question for a divorced women's
Yeah,
Facebook group.
yeah, no. So they're like, okay, I'm looking at dating again. It's been 2 years, whatever, blah blah blah. That I've been with anybody, and so they're like, do you think it's a scam, or do you think this person is this, or the woman? It's a women's group. Okay, let's define women, biologically women. These are women that were married to men, or women married to women, whatever. It's a women's group. Okay, so women are asking about men. They said, they said like a list of the text. Here's what he said. Here's
I
what
love
he said.
disclosure statement.
Right?
Oh,
This is what he
shit.
said.
Hey, get over there. Get over there. There
What
you
you
go.
gonna do with
Oh,
all that
that's-
junk? All that junk. Okay. So
School
the
supplies.
lady actually asked for the group's opinion. Do you think this is a red flag? And I've come from a narcissistic, abusive relationship. It wasn't physical, it was definitely verbal and talking down and having the children talk against me. And so this is that lady's backstory. What do you think? So people gave their opinions
On her dating this guy.
on the text, on the actual verbiage in the text.
Okay.
He's like, well, I can't see you this week because I have this, and then I have my kids these couple days, and blah, 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 blah.
So did they beat him up?
No, they told this girl basically she was not good looking. She should be happy with what she gets. Why does everything have to be a red flag? Why is she so needy? If she doesn't feel like, I was just like, this is like Mean Girls. Like, what is happening? This girl just
It was an episode of Mean Girls on
It
the
was.
women's divorce.
And come to find out, it was like one of the admin people. And she's just like, I cannot believe the bullying that is happening on here. And I'm like, I totally agree. But like, you calling everybody out, like literally using people's names going, hey, you're a fucking piece of shit. Hey. So I'm like, I don't think this is a healthy group. So I got out of that group, and then I went into another one for divorced over 40.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the specific name of it, but it's more of it's more of people my speed. So
your lane, your
lane,
speed and your lane.
My left lane is fast. So it's people who have either adult children, older children. It's maybe their second marriage, or
so
they're dating someone in a relationship. It's definitely different waters.
Okay.
And so
women.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's women over 40 divorce, like questions like, so this is, I bought a house with my ex for the first time. Now I'm going to buy my own house. What do I do? Or I'm looking at investing. What do I do? It's more of like big people, like, let's be adults. And so
Mean Girls. I like Mean Girls.
So now it's like, hey, I lost this much weight. I have a wedding to go to. What dress should I wear? It's like, it's easy.
So it's a lot a positivity.
It's a nicer village.
Wow.
So
what
I had to get out. Like,
yeah, but I would just be on there just for the fun, man.
It was almost calling each other see you next Tuesdays. I was just like, we're supposed to, it's a support group. It's a divorce support group. Not let's badger the women who want to know if this guy's like a scam from like, you got a prince that's got $1 million. Just send me your ATM number.
Heck yeah. So my divorce group is actually going pretty well. The moderator, Michael, had to call people out because it almost turned into a
Mean Girls
dating. Well, no, not
men
dating.
dating men.
No.
Oh,
stop. It was like advice on dating. These guys were dating, but there were some people that were like fresh into it, and they don't want to hear that shit.
No,
they don't want to hear that dating shit. So he kind of said, "Hey, ease up on the dating stuff," which was a good call.
Yeah.
And focus. And these guys are hurting, man. I mean, hurting.
Now, is a majority of them the ones that caused the hurt, or the other way?
Most of them are receiving. There's a couple that were giving, but most are receiving. Even the ones that were giving were honest about it, but most of them were receiving. And men don't tell each other very much, but this group is very good, I think. Yeah. Huge for men to say something.
Well, I'm very proud of them. Just let them know that your co-host is like,
yeah, Don't be a mean girl, mean guy.
Don't be a mean girl. And guess what? We're all human, and divorce, yes, is very personal, but generally there's a lot of the same scenarios and how you speak to each other and how you get along, especially, not everybody has kids either. So in the divorce group, there are some women who don't have children and they're like, I am now all alone, where I thought we chose not to have kids, or we couldn't have kids, and I was supposed to be with my partner forever. And now I'm by myself again.
Yeah.
And so there was one lady, she's like, did I make a bad choice of not having kids to have somebody? Or do I adopt someone now at 40 and a kid or someone to give her love to? And she's just like, there's a lot of days where the ditch is deep, and it's hard to get out of.
And it's ditch on both sides of the aisle, men and women. Mm-hmm. So let's not hurt each other, women and men.
You're already going through a divorce.
There's been some episodes where there's been mean guys, but Michael, the moderator, gets on that, and he will kick him out in a heartbeat.
Well, and
so we have a moderator that's pretty much even kill. I think is cool. But if you have a moderator who's see you next, who see you next week, current.
CUNW.
See you next week. If you have one of those for a moderator, that's got to be tough.
Well, I think that's what happened. I think our admin or whatever of the group, I think she was actually even just picking at stuff, trying to get a response. And there's a lot of comments she's like, well, is that appropriate? Or if someone asks me what I think of something they say and I give my opinion and you ask for it, how's that wrong? That's how the society we live in today. If you're not saying the opinion I'm thinking out of your mouth, I'm offended. That's not how it works.
The Professor and Marianne.
Here on Gilligan. Yeah. We've done a lot of singing today. Hey.
I know.
But yeah, so we need to get back to where just because someone has a different view or a different opinion, learn from it. Don't be mad at them for having that. And maybe by you talking to them, they may soften on that opinion, or they may, I never looked at it that way. I still have my opinion, but I didn't view it from that aspect, because we all come from different places, even if
Big time.
Socioeconomically, if we've come from the same background, or totally different, we can learn from that. And even in the marriage, it doesn't have to be a constant bullfight. It doesn't have to be where, I'm waving the flag, and if you don't react, you never cared. Or I would get that, if you ever cared about me, you would blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I was married to you for a long time. Don't give me your petty shit. But here's how I can diffuse you. I know how you work. So learn to be kind. I think you need to learn to be kind, because you're already getting divorced. Why make it
tough? Make it worse.
Why? Yeah. Why make it more wavy, more loops in the roller coaster?
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. That was interesting. We went from 5 ways of
roller coaster
of love. Say what? No one sang that song yet.
No, we didn't. Go for it.
Of love, say what?
Say what?
Top 5 roller coaster events during divorce recovery. Yeah. And
make sure you watch the YouTube. There are some fun events that happen here.
No, it's very boring, guys. Do not watch a YouTube video.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to clock out. Everybody have a good night, and see you next week.
See you next Thursday. That works.
Wow.
See you next Thursday. Hey, that works. I'm so smart.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.